The small house at the end of the quiet street felt unusually still that afternoon as Anna lay on her bed and listened to the slow ticking of the wall clock. Sunlight slipped through the thin curtains and rested across the floor in long pale lines. The room smelled faintly of soap and warm air. Anna kept one hand pressed against her lower back as if holding the pain in place. It was not sharp enough to make her cry, yet it was strong enough to refuse being ignored. Anna was a young woman who had learned early how to live on her own. She worked long hours and carried her worries quietly. She never liked asking for help and often told herself that discomfort was just part of growing older. Still, this pain felt different from anything she remembered. It came and went without warning and left her tired even after resting. Each breath felt heavier than the one before. Beside the bed sat Max, her dog, who had been with her since he was small. Max was not loud or playful like other dogs in the neighborhood. He was calm, observant, and strangely serious. His brown eyes followed every movement Anna made. When she shifted on the bed, he lifted his head. When she sighed, he stood up. It was as if he was counting every breath she took. Anna tried to distract herself by scrolling through her phone, but the pain pulled her back into stillness. She closed her eyes and memories of her childhood drifted in quietly. She remembered running through fields laughing without fear and calling for her father when she fell. Her father David had always come no matter the time or distance. That memory warmed her chest and gave her courage. With slow, careful movement, Anna reached for her phone and called her father. David answered quickly, as he always did. His voice carried comfort even before he asked how she was. Anna tried to keep her voice steady, but it trembled despite her effort. She told him that her back hurt and that it had been hurting for days. She did not know why, but she felt the need to tell him everything. David listened closely and asked gentle questions. He asked when the pain started and whether it changed during the day. He reminded her to rest and to promise she would see a doctor soon. His words were calm yet filled with concern. Anna agreed because it felt easier than explaining the strange feeling growing inside her. When the call ended, she felt both lighter and more uneasy. Max suddenly stood up and walked closer to the bed. He sniffed the air and then lowered his head near her back. A soft sound came from his throat, almost like a warning. Anna frowned and tried to sit up, but the pain made her pause. Max pressed his nose gently against her back, and then pulled away quickly. His tail was still, and his body tense. Anna spoke his name softly and reached out to pet him. Max did not relax. Instead, he turned toward the door and looked back at her. He walked a few steps, then stopped and looked again. His eyes were focused and serious. Anna felt a chill run through her arms. Max had never behaved this way before. He was trained gentle and calm, but now something had changed. She tried to stand, but the pain returned stronger than before. She leaned against the bed and waited until it passed. Max let out a short bark and circled her slowly. He sniffed the floor and the walls, then returned to her side. His actions felt purposeful, like he was searching for something he could not see yet clearly sensed. The house felt different suddenly, as if the air itself had thickened. Every small sound echoed louder than usual. Anna felt watched, though she was alone. She reminded herself that fear often grew when the body was tired. Still, she could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. The pain in her back pulsed slowly like a quiet signal. Anna moved carefully to the living room with Max close beside her. She sat on the couch and tried to breathe steadily. Max climbed onto the floor in front of her and stared at her back again. His ears were lifted and his eyes were wide. He leaned forward and sniffed once more, then stepped away and barked toward the hallway. Anna followed his gaze and felt her heart beat faster. The hallway led to the bathroom and the small storage room at the end. She rarely used that space and often forgot what was inside. Max walked toward it slowly, then stopped and waited. He looked back at her again with urgency. Anna stood still, unsure of what to do. She thought of her father and wished he were there. She thought of calling a neighbor but felt embarrassed by the idea. After a long moment, she took a step forward. The pain flared briefly, then faded. Max walked ahead of her, leading the way. Every step felt heavier than the last. They reached the storage room door and Max sat down. He looked up at Anna and let out a low sound. Anna placed her hand on the door handle and hesitated. Her thoughts raced and her breath grew shallow. She told herself she was overthinking and that pain could make the mind imagine danger. Still, she could not ignore Max. Anna opened the door slowly and light spilled into the small room. Boxes were stacked along the walls and dust floated in the air. Nothing seemed unusual at first glance. Max stepped inside and sniffed along the floor. He stopped near the far corner and scratched lightly. Anna leaned forward and felt her heart sink. She did not yet know what Max had sensed or why her back hurt so deeply. All she knew was that her quiet day had changed. Something unseen had entered her life. Something that would soon demand answers. The storage room felt colder than the rest of the house as Anna stepped inside and stood still while dust floated slowly in the air. The light from the hallway touched the boxes and old shelves and made long shadows on the floor. Her back ached again, and she placed her hand against the wall to steady herself. Max moved with focus and lowered his head near the corner where the floor met the wall. Anna watched him closely and felt her heart beat louder with every breath. Max scratched the floor again and let out a low sound that felt different from a bark. It was not fear or anger but warning and urgency. Anna bent slightly and looked closer at the corner he pointed to. She noticed a dark patch near the base of the wall that she had never seen before. She crouched carefully and touched the spot with her fingers. The surface felt uneven and slightly warm. A strange smell hung in the air and made her pull her hand back. Max stepped between her and the wall as if trying to protect her. Anna felt a wave of confusion and worry wash over her. She stood up slowly and walked back into the living room with Max close by her side. Her thoughts raced and she struggled to understand what she had seen. She told herself that it could be nothing important and that pain could make small things feel big. Still, her body felt tense and her back pain grew stronger as time passed. Anna sat on the couch and took slow breaths. Max sat in front of her and refused to leave her sight. Every few moments he looked toward the hallway and then back at her. The quiet house felt heavy and uncomfortable. Anna reached for her phone and called her father again. David answered with worry in his voice as soon as he heard her tone. Anna explained what Max had done and what she noticed in the storage room. She tried to stay calm but fear slipped into her words. David listened carefully and told her not to ignore what her body and the dog were telling her. He asked her to leave the house and stay with a neighbor or friend until he arrived. Anna hesitated because she did not want to overreact. She had always been strong and independent. Still, her back pain reminded her that something was not right. She agreed to follow his advice and promised she would not stay alone. David told her he would come as soon as possible. Anna gathered a few things and opened the front door. Fresh air filled her lungs and eased her chest slightly. Max walked beside her, alert and watchful. They crossed the yard and went to the house next door where an older woman named Rose lived. Rose welcomed her warmly and listened with concern as Anna explained. Rose offered her tea and a quiet place to rest. Anna sat by the window and tried to relax, but her body refused. The pain in her back came in waves and made her restless. Max lay at her feet, but never fully relaxed. His eyes remained sharp and aware. As evening approached, David arrived and went straight to Anna. He hugged her carefully and looked at her face with deep concern. He thanked Rose and then told Anna they needed to take the situation seriously. Together they walked back to her house with Max leading the way. David inspected the storage room carefully. He noticed the same dark patch and the strange warmth near the wall. He did not touch it and instead stepped back. His face showed worry but also determination. He told Anna that they needed help and that waiting was not an option. They left the house again and went to a nearby place where professionals could examine both the house and Anna. Max stayed close and refused to leave her side. Anna felt tired and overwhelmed, but also relieved that she was not alone anymore. While waiting, Anna rested in a quiet room and tried to focus on her breathing. Her back pain was examined carefully and questions were asked. The attention made her nervous but also hopeful. Max sat quietly near her and watched every movement around her. Later David was told that something inside the wall could be causing both the strange smell and the warmth. The discovery explained Max's behavior and confirmed that Anna's instinct to ask for help had been right. David thanked Max softly and placed his hand on the dog head. Anna listened from a distance and felt a mix of fear and relief. She realized that pain was not always the enemy but sometimes a message. Max had listened when she could not understand. Her body and her dog had worked together to protect her. That night, Anna rested knowing that answers were coming. The fear did not disappear, but it softened. She felt grateful for her father and for Max who had refused to stay silent. She knew her life had changed, but she also knew she had listened at the right time. Outside, the night settled quietly, and the house stood empty for now. The secret hidden in the wall would soon be fully revealed. What mattered most was that Anna was safe and no longer alone. Morning arrived quietly and brought with it a soft light that filled the waiting room where Anna rested. She had slept little, but her mind felt clearer than the night before. The pain in her back was still present, but it no longer felt mysterious. It felt like a warning that had already done its job. Max lay beside her with his head resting on his paws and his eyes half open, watching every movement around them. David sat nearby holding a cup of warm drink and thinking deeply. He had spent most of the night talking with people who understood houses' walls and hidden dangers. He knew now that the strange warmth and smell inside the wall were not normal and could have caused serious harm if ignored. He felt proud of Anna for speaking up and thankful for Max who had noticed what humans could not. Later that morning they returned to the house with professionals who carefully examined the storage room. Anna stayed outside with Max and watched through the open door. She felt nervous but also curious. The house looked the same as always, yet it felt different knowing something unseen had been hiding inside it. The wall was opened carefully and everyone stayed quiet. When the inner space was revealed, the reason for the strange signs became clear. Something old and damaged had been hidden behind the wall and had slowly caused heat and discomfort in the room. It explained the pain in Anna's back and the behavior of Max who had sensed the change long before anyone else. David listened closely as explanations were given. He nodded and asked questions to make sure the issue could be fully fixed. He wanted his daughter to feel safe again in her own home. Anna watched his calm strength and felt comforted. She realized how much she still needed her father even though she lived alone. Max stayed alert the entire time. He watched the open wall and then looked at Anna as if checking whether she was all right. When she smiled at him, his tail moved gently. It was the first time he relaxed since the pain began. Anna reached down and placed her hand on his head, feeling grateful beyond words. Once the issue was understood and plans were made to repair it, Anna felt a weight lift from her chest. The fear that had followed her for days slowly faded. She realized that her body had spoken to her through pain and her dog had answered in action. Together they had avoided something far worse. That afternoon Anna and David sat together in the living room. Sunlight returned and filled the space with warmth that felt safe this time. The house no longer felt silent in a heavy way. It felt calm. Anna leaned back carefully and took a deep breath. David spoke softly and told Anna that listening to small signs mattered. He reminded her that strength did not mean ignoring pain. It meant knowing when to ask for help. Anna nodded and felt those words settle deep inside her. Max lay on the floor between them, peaceful and tired. His job was done for now. Anna thought about how many times people overlooked the quiet signals around them. She wondered how many times animals noticed danger long before humans did. As evening came, Anna prepared a simple meal and moved slowly through the kitchen. Her back felt sore but improving. She felt hopeful knowing the cause had been found and that it would soon be fixed. David stayed with her for the night, unwilling to leave her alone so soon. They talked about simple things and shared memories from Anna's childhood. Laughter returned to the house, softly at first, then more freely. Max lifted his head when he heard the sound and wagged his tail. The house felt alive again. That night, Anna slept deeply for the first time in days. Her dreams were calm and filled with open fields and warm light. When she woke, she felt rested and strong. The pain was still there, but it felt smaller and less threatening. The next days passed with steady improvement. Repairs were made, and the house slowly returned to normal. Anna spent time outside walking with Max and enjoying the fresh air. Each step felt like a reminder that she had listened at the right moment. People who heard the story were amazed by Max's instincts. Anna always smiled and said that dogs listen to the world in ways humans often forgot. She felt a new respect for the quiet signals around her. Anna also changed in small ways. She rested more and paid attention to her body. She called her father more often and allowed herself to accept care without guilt. The experience had taught her that independence did not mean isolation. Max continued to follow her everywhere, but now his eyes were lighter and his movements playful again. He had returned to being her companion rather than her guardian. Anna felt closer to him than ever before. One quiet evening, Anna sat on her porch and watched the sky change colors. Max lay beside her and David sat nearby enjoying the calm. Anna realized that the pain that once frightened her had actually guided her toward safety. She felt thankful for the lesson even though it had been difficult. She knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but she also knew she would not face them alone. She had learned to listen and to trust. The house stood strong again with no hidden danger inside. The wall that once held a secret was now open and repaired. What remained was a deeper bond between a daughter, her father, and a loyal dog. Anna closed her eyes and breathed in the cool evening air. She felt safe and aware. She knew the story was not over yet. There was still one more chapter waiting to be told. The weeks that followed moved gently and gave Anna time to reflect on everything that had happened. The house felt different now in a peaceful way. The air felt lighter and the walls no longer held secrets. Anna woke each morning with less pain and more confidence. She learned to stretch slowly and listen to her body before rushing into the day. Max stayed close as always, but his watchful tension was gone. He played in the yard again and greeted neighbors with a calm wag of his tail. Anna noticed how animals seemed to sense peace just as clearly as danger. She felt grateful every time she looked at him. She often knelt beside him and whispered her thanks even though he needed no words. David visited often and sometimes stayed for dinner. Their conversations grew deeper and more open. They talked about the past and about the future. Anna shared dreams she had never spoken aloud before. David listened with pride and reminded her that her strength had always been there even when she doubted it. Rose from next door also became a closer part of Anna's life. They shared tea in the afternoons and spoke about simple things. Rose told stories from her younger days and laughed easily. Anna realized that help often came from unexpected places when one allowed it. She felt her world grow warmer through these connections. One afternoon, Anna decided to clean the storage room again. She wanted to face the place that had once filled her with fear. Max followed her quietly and sat near the door. The room looked ordinary now with clean walls and clear corners. Anna stood there calmly and felt no pain rise within her. She took a deep breath and smiled. The moment felt like closure. She realized that facing fear did not always require bravery in loud ways. Sometimes it meant standing still and acknowledging what had been learned. Anna left the room feeling lighter than before. As days passed, Anna returned to her routines with new awareness. She balanced work with rest and allowed herself quiet moments without guilt. She paid attention to small signs in her body and mind. The pain that once frightened her became a reminder of the importance of care. Max continued to be her shadow, but now with playful energy. They went on longer walks and explored new paths. Anna noticed how much joy simple movement could bring. Each step felt like a gift she no longer took for granted. People who heard Anna's story often focused on the dog and his instincts. Anna gently corrected them and said that it was also about listening. She believed that the true lesson was about paying attention to what felt wrong, even when it seemed small. Her words often stayed with those who listened. One evening Anna sat at her desk and wrote about the experience. She wrote not for praise or attention but for clarity. Writing helped her understand how close she had come to ignoring an important warning. It also helped her see how support had surrounded her once she spoke up. David read her writing later and felt proud. He told her that her story could help others who felt unsure about asking for help. Anna smiled and felt a quiet sense of purpose. She knew she did not need a large audience to make a difference. Even one person mattered. Max lay nearby while she wrote and occasionally lifted his head to watch her. His presence reminded her that loyalty often came without conditions. She reached down and rubbed his ears and he closed his eyes peacefully. As autumn approached, the house filled with soft colors and cool air. Anna decorated the porch with simple plants and enjoyed the change of season. She felt grounded and present in ways she had not before. Life felt steady and meaningful. One night Anna dreamed again of open fields and warm light. When she woke she felt calm and strong. The pain in her back was nearly gone. What remained was awareness and gratitude. Anna understood now that pain was not always an enemy. Sometimes it was a message asking to be heard. She also understood that silence could be dangerous when it hid important truths. Speaking up had saved her in ways she would always remember. Max sensed her calm and slept deeply beside her bed. David rested easily knowing his daughter was safe. The house stood quietly holding only warmth and memory now. Anna looked around her home one evening and felt at peace. She had learned to trust herself and those around her. She had learned that care and attention could change outcomes. The story that began with a simple phone call had ended with deeper understanding. Anna knew life would bring new challenges, but she also knew she would meet them differently now. She would listen more closely and act more gently. As the lights dimmed and night settled, Anna closed her eyes with a soft smile. She felt safe, supported, and aware. The lesson would stay with her forever.